you guys? Rasati out here in Singapore, and you're back on the Night Owl podcast with me. And it's kind of with a heavy heart that I'm talking to you guys tonight because I'm seeing so much about, the coverage on George Floyd and this terrible, terrible behavior that we're all actually exhibiting at the moment. So not only the cops that aren't using their best judgment, people that are coming out with prejudice, like the racism, the sexism. My God, like really, we really need to do something about this. I remember when we first started talking about, people who are being gunned down for no good reason, and it was a racism thing in the US, and they tried to brush it up saying, oh, it was a once in a, I don't know how many statistic, but it's becoming more and more prevalent, you guys, and I don't understand why. There's so many names, and I'm sure I'm missing so many. I mean, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. Obviously, there's too much going on, and Trayvon Martin, like all that stuff. I don't understand. I don't understand why it has to be like this. What kind of threat you feel from these people, but honestly speaking, there's something that needs to be done. So I want to talk to you about egalitarianism instead of racism or white supremacy or feminism or sexism, ageism, any of those things. I want to talk to you about egalitarianism mostly because I kind of feel like I identify with that more. It's not that I'm saying that women shouldn't have a right, they should. I'm not saying that children shouldn't have a right, they should. I'm not saying the elderly shouldn't have a right, they should. I'm not saying that Mexicans are better than black people, that are better than Chinese, that are better than, Caucasians. I'm not saying any of that. Everybody should be on equal footing, and that's why I believe in egalitarianism. There is no box that we're trying to promote more than the other, and that's what I think we're losing in the fight to make sure that everybody gets an equal say. That's ideally what we're trying to do. When we say we're feminists, we're trying to make sure that we get equal footing as women that men already seem to have. But what some people are taking it to the next extreme, saying that, oh, so you only support women, you don't support men. That's not the truth. What we're trying to say is, if you have the right to vote, the right to an education, shouldn't everyone? If you, based on your economic status, and let's go back to the caste system even, if you at one particular level have the ability to choose for yourself your life, right? Shouldn't everyone have the right to choose for themselves? Is it really about karma and which caste you were born into? Is that really how that works? I would rather not see any of those things. So rather than promote one over another, I want to promote all of us. I want to make sure all of us are being well taken care of, that all of us have the resources we need. I don't want to be pro-life or pro-choice. I want to be one of those people that says, you know what, there is too much gray in the world for me to be able to decide what's good for you. I'm not standing in your shoes. I don't see what you see. I haven't felt the pain that you've felt. So if you decide the best thing for you to feel peace, for you to find happiness, for you to kind of overcome whatever trauma you've endured, if that's the best choice for you, then you do what you need to do. As long as you're not out hurting other people. And I'm not saying that consciousness is different for unborn children versus born children. I'm saying that if this is what you need to be able to find peace and reconcile your life, fine. As long as it's not putting someone else at risk. As long as it's not putting a group of people to shame. As long as it's not, passing the hurt on to somebody else. And yes, that is a very, very tough line to talk about, but I need you guys to hear me. When people say feminism, a lot of people are saying that, you know what? Okay, so you're pro-woman. What about us that don't really fit into a category? I do not want to be named. There is no pronoun that describes me. What about those people? Are you saying that they don't have the same choices they should? Are you saying that, within women itself, right? There is some ideal still deeply embedded within you that says that if you win, someone has to lose. If I'm choosing women, that means men have to lose. If I'm choosing white people, that means black people and every other color have to lose. That's not the case, you guys. That's what I want you guys to really understand. I am choosing egalitarianism. I'm choosing humanitarianism. If you are a human species, right, everyone in your species should have the same opportunities. Now, I understand economics plays a part. It depends on where you are, the kind of opportunities that are presented to you. But if you have the brain power, if you have the skill set, why not? That's what I'm saying. Honestly speaking, I was shocked when I came to Singapore, right? In the US, when you submit your resume, you just submit it's just words on a page. That's it. Maybe a couple of colors, maybe, but that's it. You do not submit anything else. In Singapore, it is several pages long, and you have to, by law, have to affix your photo on the top of the resume. And you try and tell me right now right? That they don't look at that picture first and then start passing judgment already before they even get through your resume and what you've accomplished in your life. And that shocked me. This is why I have a problem with the human resources departments here in Singapore, because I don't think they understand what the purpose of human resources is for. You're still making judgments. You're still discriminating against women who are parents and women who are not. People who maybe at some point say, you know what, I need to leave the office to go pick up my child. I need to leave the office to take my child to the doctor's appointment. That becomes a problem. Why? Because suddenly they see you as not completely dedicated to your job. Why would you be dedicated to your family? You need to be dedicated to your job. But guess what? The only reason I need a job is because I want to provide for my family. So y'all need to see the balance in that. When we talk about racism, and it's starting to get prevalent now. I've been talking to people about, the suicides rates. The predictions are supposed to be that the suicide rate increases after COVID kind of slows down a little bit and everybody comes out of their circuit breaker measures or their quarantine measures, whatever the case may be. And realizing the fact that people are going to want to stay away from each other. People are going to start pointing fingers. People are going to start discriminating again. Racism will come out of everybody's mouths, whether they realize it or not. You got to be real careful, you guys. And this whole concept of pointing the finger, of needing to put the blame somewhere so you feel better about yourself, that's where all the problems begin. There is no blame to a side. If there is something that happened, whether it was somebody who ate a bat or somebody who concocted a virus in the US and shipped it to China, well, I don't know because I was physically not there, so I cannot attest to any of those things. But those are the wild accusations and theories that are running around right now. And in this divided state where we do not stand for each other, our neighbors don't take care of each other like we used to once upon a time. We're worried about our household versus their household, and we're quick to snitch on each other and we're quick to judge each other. I mean, seriously, how are we supposed to evolve as a species at that point? Why wouldn't a virus run rampant and take half of us? I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying we need to change our tactics. Choosing an umbrella to stand under means you're leaving someone out in the cold. I want to make sure that all of us are well taken care of. I want to make sure that we provide each other with a sense of trust and comfort and understanding that, you know what, you're human just like I am. Your coloring may be different, your bone structure might be different, your language might be different. I don't care. You still need shelter and sunshine and water and food in order to survive, just like I do, which means all animals do as well. All plants do as well. We should all be taking care of each other. Nothing is gained when you stop to pass the blame somewhere, when you need to assign a loser and a winner. Just because you win doesn't mean this has to be a loser. Maybe the person beside you doesn't win the same time you do. Maybe they win later. Maybe they have other things they need to accomplish before they end up winning. I've seen it within feminist groups that the women that stand together talking about gender equality, we need to be as equal as a man because we can do just about anything that a man can do, right? Within themselves, amongst themselves, they're competing with each other. How is that equality? You're not cheering each other on. You're not sharing information for fear that the other person might win before you do. You are still competing with each other. Think about it this way. When you've seen this image before. It's a meme of sorts. It's like, the bronze, silver, and gold not statues. I'm sorry. The medals, right? You stand in like a triangle kind of thing, and you've got the silver, bronze, and gold. And you've seen it before where the meme says that the person who got bronze was so excited and so happy and jumping up and down and celebrating, and the gold is looking at him like, oh my gosh, I want what he has. How come I don't have that feeling of happiness and success and fulfillment? How come I don't feel what he feels and he got less than I did? So that is that idea. I need you guys to understand, winning and losing, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be winning and learning. I think Stephen Covey was the one who started talking about that. I don't always win, and when I don't, it's a fact that I learn. I don't win and lose. It's not win or lose, it's win and learn. I need you guys to understand, picking a side doesn't mean automatically that you want what is opposite of you to lose. But that's how people are seeing this. Another thing that I've seen recently that's been really, really upsetting to me is maybe all this time you didn't realize how big the problem was, and suddenly with George Floyd, suddenly it hits you like, whoa, this is happening more and more often. I need to say something. And you suddenly decide to speak up and say, you know what? I feel for this. I understand this. I feel really badly about this. And suddenly the people who have been talking to you the whole time about how this is a problem look at you and like, how dare? How dare you show support all of a sudden? Where were you all this time? That's something else that I'm seeing all of a sudden. And it's really hard for me to see because it feels like you're condemning people for suddenly waking up. You're judging people for suddenly waking up. Yes, people have shared and shared and shared that same video over and over again. And it's not with malice all the time. Some people are sharing it with malice. Some people are not. Some people are really sharing it because if they haven't seen it till now and it didn't hit them till now, maybe other people that they know of need to see it as well. Maybe they're not watching the news. Maybe they're only on social media. This is the way we show solidarity and support. But you know what? You judging them for suddenly being awake doesn't help the problem either. Maybe they're not saying it right. Maybe they don't say it to your satisfaction. I get it. But people awaken at different points in their life. People see things differently than you do because their experience is different. Maybe they've been sheltered all their life and they've been raised to believe that, people are good at heart and no one would ever, police are there to protect and serve, not to, harass and intimidate. Maybe they believe in Santa Claus. And suddenly when you show them a picture that Santa Claus is actually your mom dressed in, in Santa Claus suit or whatever, they're suddenly awake and they suddenly realize, oh my God, what else is going on now? Suddenly I'm awake and suddenly I'm shocked. And yes, this hurts me. And if I am suddenly awake, maybe I should be sharing this stuff so I can make sure that other people are also awakened. There is a lot of hate going on in the world. Whether we realize it or not, we're sharing it rampantly. Yes, I am angry. I am incensed. I cannot believe that one human, let alone a police officer, one human could do this to another human being. I cannot believe that the woman stood there and videotaped the whole thing and didn't find a way to encourage everyone around her to come in and stop the police officer. If anything, there were 2 police officers on the scene. Yes, they might have called for backup or whatever, but guess what? How many passers-by were there? It's become this big joke that people would tape everything and anything and post it online. But how many of you will jump out from behind the damn camera and do something about the issue? Stop it where it is, right there. You might have saved his life, but you did not. You showed up behind your camera screen with the record button, and that was it. And yes, okay, you showed how ridiculous life is getting. But if you're not stepping in to try to be part of the solution, aren't you adding to the problem? You didn't stand up, you didn't say anything when you had a chance. And so these people got away with murder. It's no longer just a saying. People are getting away with murder. And you have the voice, you have the strength, you have the ability to stand up and stop them. You don't have to fire a weapon. You don't have to beat them up. You could stand closer and make sure that people know that they are being watched. They are being seen. They can be seen for what's going on. You can demand a fair trial. You can demand that people stop in the middle of their action so that they realize that this is not the way you should proceed. We outnumber them. As in people in power, the general public outnumber the people in power. If we only would stand together, but we can't do that either because they've happily made sure that we're afraid of each other and we're scared of each other and we don't trust each other and we figure the other race is looking out for number one rather than looking out for us. And so we will not stand together. We're too scared. When it comes to equality for human rights, we need to talk about all aspects of the issue. Yes, there are plenty of opportunities and organizations out there making sure that women are taken care of. Yes, women need to be taken care of. We need to be protected. We need to have, places that we can reach out to in case we're in trouble. But guess what? Men need that too. Children need that. Elderly need that. It's not just African American men or women. It's not just white America. It's not just Mexicans and Puerto Ricans and Cubans. It's not just Indians and foreign domestic workers here in Singapore. It's all of us. All of us need a place to go if we ever find ourselves in trouble. And we will not get to that place until we stop trying to assign blame and stop trying to decide whether we're winners or they're losers or whatever. We all have a chance to win. We can all win. There's enough for all of us to win. Maybe not at the same time, but all of us have the chance to win. It's possible. Me winning does not mean my neighbor does not win. I win in a different way than they do. Me getting food on the table every night, that's a win. So please, be patient with each other. We don't all awaken at the same time. We don't all get upset about the same things. Sometimes it doesn't hit us. Our reality is so warped. We've been so sheltered. I need you guys to love each other through this. You may not understand their point of view, but guess what? That's their truth. And you can't tell them that's not true until they're ready to listen to you. You can't tell them that they're wrong, because guess what? The first thing you tell someone, the first thing that goes through their mind when you tell someone that they're wrong is, oh my gosh, how dare you? You're attacking me. It's not that their belief is wrong. They suddenly feel like their identity is being attacked. Why? Because they've built who they are and their place in the world around these beliefs. This is why I teach what I teach. Your beliefs might have been handed down to you. You're allowed to question your beliefs. You're allowed to level up. You're allowed to change it. You're allowed to pick and choose what you believe based on what makes you feel better. Now, that also means that if you choose something that makes you feel protected, it may not jive with the rest of the world, and that's okay. But you need to understand that my truth is my truth, your truth is your truth, and it is part of the actual reality. I see one aspect of it. You see another aspect of it. It's okay. And if we could come to each other in this capacity, the capacity to understand that you may not believe what I believe because you haven't lived my life, but that doesn't mean that what you've been taught is completely wrong. There are aspects of it that are true too. If we could come together that way, I'm pretty sure we could change a whole lot more and a whole lot faster, and the change would be sustainable. So please, be cognizant of what you're sending when you send things out. Be mindful of the people that will take offense. I'm not saying change your messaging. I'm saying be mindful. Be ready. People are going to have something to say, regardless of whether you're saying the truth or a lie or whatever. They're always going to have something to say. But be ready. Be ready not to be offended, because that is their reality. You keep doing what you got to do. You don't need to put them down. You don't need to shame them. You don't need to prove a point and have the last word. None of that. You do what you think is right. Because guess what? That's what they're doing too. They're speaking up to argue with you because they feel like you're attacking their identity, their culture, their religion, whatever. And they have a right to do that with the understanding that they're trying to learn more, not to prove a point or to convince the other side that they are right. And this is actually the biggest problem that I face with a lot of my clients when they're talking about their colleagues that they don't get along with, their siblings they don't get along with, their spouse that they don't get along with. I'm coming to therapy because I need you to convince my husband he's wrong. Because I've been telling me he doesn't listen, he doesn't think he's wrong, but I know he's wrong. Well, guess what? That's not generally what happens in therapy. That's not what happens in a counseling situation. I'm going to have to ask you why you believe what you believe is right. And I'm going to have to talk to him and find out what he believes and why he believes it's right and how the two of those things clash. And maybe there's a way that you could both see the same thing if you would just talk to each other instead of at each other. Standing up for one side doesn't have to mean that you're automatically denying the other side. It could mean that you see that there is a gap. You're trying to bridge the gap. You want the level to be a little more even than it has been in the past. And there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you understand, yeah, it's going to offend some people. Yeah, it's going to upset some people. But in the end, it's meant to raise all of us. A rising tide lifts all boats, not just some, all boats. And that's what I'm trying to teach. Guys, I hope you understand. There was a lot of material covered in this particular podcast. And yeah, I'm kind of emotional about this, but I need you guys to understand. Standing up for one person doesn't mean you're automatically putting down another. That's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not what advocacy is. When I advocate for rape victims, it's to let people know that, you know what, there is a deficiency on the other side that people are not addressing. People are not understanding that this is not, real life is not like porn, you guys, okay? And if you watch porn, a lot of times you see that someone's rights, while they have consent on the video itself, it doesn't seem like everyone's enjoying. It doesn't seem like everyone is having an equal say in the situation. So I need you guys to understand, when you advocate for something, you're not automatically denying someone else. You need to be cognizant. You need to be aware. You need to be compassionate. I want everyone to win. So with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. If you have any questions or comments, if you want to throw some shade, whatever, drop them in the comments. I'm ready for you. But think about what I said. A lot of people are trying really hard to show support. And yeah, maybe they've never supported before and they're being ridiculed for it all of a sudden. Maybe you're late to the game. It doesn't matter. You came. You showed up. You know now. And guess what? Most times once you see something, you can't unsee it. A mind stretched cannot go back to its original dimensions. It's impossible. Unless, of course, you black out or block out the memories on purpose. But honestly speaking, once you've seen it, it changes you. And you can't go back to the way you used to be. So if people are suddenly coming out the woodwork to show support, don't belittle them. Don't shame them. They're trying. Maybe they don't use the right words. Teach them. Maybe they are doing it by sharing more and more hate. Enlighten them. Tell them. Show them where they're making a mistake. Don't tell them they're doing it wrong. Tell them there's a better way. It's easy to point out all the mistakes. It's different to show them how to do it where it's a little more efficient or better or well received, better intentioned, more clear. I hope that makes sense, you guys. Anyway, I'll catch you again soon. Y'all take care. Bye.